My mother passed away 3 years ago. I, 19 female, was her only biological child. Still, she took care of my stepdad's children, 25 male, 26 male, and 30 female, since their mom died giving birth to the youngest. I'll call him John. So my mom was their only maternal figure. They married when I was 2, and she cared for them ever since. I'm not personally close with either of them or her husband, and when she passed away, I moved to my dad's home full-time and never spoke to them again. Now, my mom left some money to each of them, but nothing like jewelry, family heirlooms, or things like that. John wants to get married to his long-term girlfriend, and a few weeks ago sent me a message on Facebook saying he wanted to talk. I agreed. I congratulated him and everything, but he asked for my mom's engagement ring, since she always promised it to him. My mom and John were close, closer than me and her maybe. I know she loved him a lot, and it hurts, yeah, but whatever. He showed me some old messages between him and my mom, saying things like, "If you want the rings, just ask, my love," or "I have the ring kept in a box for you." But she never actually changed her will for the ring to be left to him, and she had plenty of time to do so because she did leave them money. This ring goes a few generations back, maybe 200 to 250 years old. It was my mom's, my grandma's, my great-grandma, etc. My mom wore it all the time, and it's the only piece of jewelry she liked, so I said I was going to think about it before leaving. I consulted my mom's lawyer, and he said that they have no claim over the ring because it's stated for the rest to go to me while they received money, and that if they try to sue, it'll most likely be a loss on their part. So I'm legally in the clear. I texted my stepbrother again and said that I'd given it some thought and ultimately decided not to give him the ring, but that he was welcome to pick another piece of my mom's jewelry box. Everything exploded. John and his brothers are calling me an idiot because she promised him, and I don't know what to do. He's calling me a thief and a jealous sister. Not the idiot. Block him. You had no contact with him after your mom died, so it shouldn't be that hard to block him. Your mom took the time to write out a will where she clearly stated what she wanted to leave each of you. If she wanted him to have it, she would have either included it in the will or changed the will at some point. She did neither of these things. The fact that the ring has been in her family for over 200 years and was passed down from mother to daughter suggests she intentionally didn't leave it to him in the will. She intentionally left all of her items to you as her biological daughter. Agree. Your stepbrother's not biologically related to anyone who owned the ring, while you are descended from past owners. It's a family heirloom passed down to daughters. It's your family history. You barely know him, and you offered him any other piece of jewelry from your mom. Stand firm. Who cares what people who are basically strangers that you're slightly related to are saying? Block them and move on with your life. Also, I have doubts about those texts because she didn't leave him the ring in her testament. The text stepbrother showed you could be fake. Do you really think it was about the rings in question? First, it was plural, not singular, and you're talking about one ring. Second, you stated that she always had this ring on her finger, and she spoke of a box in the messages. I'm not saying the texts are fake, but are they about this ring? Exactly this. OP's mother wore the ring daily in her life. OP wears it daily now because it's meaningful and sentimental to her. In her text, her mother told John the ring was kept in a box for him. This implies it's not the same ring, as this ring was worn and not kept in a box. The texts are actually proving the mother was referencing a different ring, as OP states. My mom wore it all the time, and the text messages from her mom to her stepbrother stated, "I have the ring kept in a box for you." OP, do you know for a fact that the ring in the text is the ring in question? If she had wanted him to have the ring, she would have given it to him while she was alive, but it would have been an idiot move on her part to send it out of the family. I really don't know why she said the rings, but my mom did own several, even if she only wore the one I'm talking about. My mom never told me about leaving this one to him, so I don't know. You made me think. My son, Taylor, is a young teen and has been best friends with Logan since pre-K. I'm a single dad, and Logan has a single mom, Jackie, So we basically helped raise each other's sons over the last 9 years. Jackie has probably hugged my son as much as she has her own, and I was the one who gave both boys the puberty talk, and we've taken each other's kids on vacation together. Both boys are very alike, including fiercely protective of their parents. I have not dated in 10 years because I didn't want to disturb the equilibrium in the house, and pretty much everyone I met was more about what I could do for them. So I'm not interested in working until I'm 80. Because my son is pretty much doing his own thing, and I'm finding myself with more free time to myself, even with my tween son, I dipped my toe in the dating pool. But unfortunately, I quickly found out that there are very few options for a single dad in his 40s with standards. Jackie was experiencing the same thing, and one thing led to another, and we started hooking up. No strings attached, no Disney happy ending, no emotions. We were very discreet, yet both boys found out and hit the roof. I have no idea how they found out. Their relationship quickly deteriorated and led to a scuffle at school last month. We sat both boys down, and they were not okay with us being together in any fashion. They thought one parent was taking advantage of the other, and it was gross. We both said, fine, we won't be together. Their friendship is more important. It's not like I loved her or she loved me. They hugged, and that was that. Yet, they're still not friends. My son insists they are, but he hasn't been to Logan's, and Logan hasn't been to our house in a month. The big deal was that Logan didn't invite my son to his birthday party. When I asked my son about it, he replied, "You just want me to go so you see Jackie." Jackie was also upset that both boys were still not friends too. I finally told my son that he had to be friends with Logan. I made a sacrifice so that they could still be friends, and they weren't. What was the point of giving up what I gave up if they weren't going to be friends regardless? Jackie and I are going to make both boys play together this weekend, and neither of them is happy about it. So, am I the idiot for making them friends? You are the idiot. You can't force them to renew their friendship with each other. Life literally does not work like that. If they want to be friends again, they will. You might as well go ahead and date Jackie if you want to, rather than both of you making some martyrish self-sacrifice and blaming your children for it. Why did you hold off dating for 10 years? Because it would disturb the equilibrium in the house, but then just started dating the parent of your child's best friend without consulting them first? And then get mad at your child when they weren't okay with you all hooking up? Your actions, your consequences. Stop blaming your kid for your thoughtfulness and lack of care about how your actions would affect his life. Your kid owes you as much thought with how he proceeds in relationships as you gave him. None. If you feel guilty about how reckless you were, that's on you. My God, grow up. I'm going to go ahead and guess that your lack of dating options is because of other people's standards, not yours. I, 62 male, met my current wife, 39, 4 years ago, and we got married 2 years ago. She has a son, 12 male, from her previous marriage, who lives with us full time. His dad visits occasionally, but lives in another country. I also have 2 adult children, 34 male and 32 female, from my first marriage. I will admit that I don't have the greatest track record as a father. While my bio kids were growing up, we were distant, as their mother and I were constantly fighting. She was a stay-at-home mom while I was running a business to varying degrees of success. However, when they became adults, we, bio kids and I, became much closer. My business also grew a lot, and I'm quite wealthy now, compared to struggling to pay bills when my bio kids were growing up. My relationship with my stepson is quite good. He doesn't call me dad, but seems to view me as a very close uncle. I do my best to be a good father figure to him. If I'm being frank, I hope that eventually he will see me as a father figure, especially given that his father's never really around and constantly disappoints him. So here's the issue. A few weeks ago, while I was going through some things in the basement with my bio son and daughter, the topic of inheritance came up. I mentioned how I planned to include my stepson in my will, and he'd get a third of the estate. I don't remember exactly how we got to this topic. Well, my kids are furious with me now, telling me that this is unfair, as they had to grow up with a cold, emotionally and physically distant, unavailable father who struggled to bring food to the table. They mention how my stepson gets to live a luxurious childhood with a much kinder and more present, emotionally available and supportive parent than they ever had, while not even being my real son. Then on top of that, they would lose out on the inheritance they feel they had earned for working so hard to repair our relationship after all the damage I had done to them. It's something I'm trying to be cognizant of, because they absolutely could have walked away, but chose to try and repair our relationship, still before my business was successful, and they both had a hand in making the business successful because they were willing to help out. I can understand their point of view. However, they feel like I'm slighting them for my new family with a much younger wife, and what they claim is a do-over child, which he's not, but I can see why they'd see it that way. I want to do right by my stepson and my bio kids, who had to put up with a lot more during their childhood than my stepson. Am I the idiot for planning to leave an equal inheritance to him? Edit. I should have specified. The way I was thinking about forming my will, I'm leaving about 60% of my assets to all three of my kids, so each kid will get 20%. My wife will get about 30%. The business will go to my bio kids, unless my wife or stepson decides to get involved in the future. You are the idiot without a doubt. Why are you treating some random kid you've known for 2 minutes the same as your actual real kids who you've failed repeatedly? I guess you can leave him a bit, but 1/3 is ridiculous. You are the idiot, especially because you're giving your wife 1/3. Your stepson will probably end up inheriting more than your bio children. If he had adopted the kid, everyone would view this situation differently. OP, not the idiot. It's your money, you worked for it. You can do what you want. But I will say, for the sake of the relationship, maybe help them out now some. Pay off some student loans or give them a down payment for a house. Disagree. He says that his adult children helped make the business successful. They directly contributed to making their inheritance. I understand OP is not cutting out his stepson, but an equal third isn't fair to the neglected kids. And then they still worked not only for the relationship, but for the success of him and his business. Not to mention he's also leaving his new wife money as well, and possibly the house. If you give a large chunk to your wife and her son, but a smaller portion to your children are absolutely going to believe you didn't love them. You know how you feel bad for your stepson because his bio dad disappoints him a lot? That's how your children will feel. We're in a bad situation. My husband's brother Jack and his wife Linda died in an accident and left behind 2 kids, a young teen female and a tween male. My in-laws are devastated, as are the kids' other grandparents, but since they're all living in assisted living, they can't take in the kids. They want the kids to stay in the family, so they want the kids to go to one of Jack or Linda's siblings, Sam, his sister, or Linda's brother George or sister Amy. The kids are currently staying with George, though his wife only took them in because she thought it would be temporary. Unfortunately, money's tight for them, and recently she told him that she'd leave him if it turns out he tricked her into taking the kids permanently. Now George wants out. Sam's sister lives with roommates in New York, so it's down to Amy and us. Amy told the grandparents that Sam and I will without asking us first. All 5 people have called Sam at some point to tell him it's the right thing to do, but we really can't. Our house only has 3 bedrooms, and we have 3 kids. We cannot afford a bigger one, and there's no basement. Amy says we're the only ones who can take in the kids because she and her husband are child-free and don't know how to take care of kids. And if we don't, we'll likely be responsible for her brother's divorce. She says since my husband and I work, we have the extra income, and we already have 3 kids, so what's 2 more? The income part is not true. We're tight on money too. Also, Linda's sister's married to a Big 4 consultant who makes more than both Sam and I combined. So I don't understand why she can't take the kids and learn to parent. She just says that she and her husband travel a lot. He travels for work, but she likes to tag along. Last night my in-laws called again to beg us to take the kids. Sam was thinking about giving in, but I told him no. I'm already working longer hours just to make sure our kids have a college fund. Also, I didn't work all those all-nighters just so my kids could either not go to college or take out huge debts. I said I still think Linda's sister should give up her traveling with her husband before we make our kids cram into the same room and spend their college funds on their cousins. Sam said we should ask the kids to see if they were okay with it, which made me angry. I'm not passing the guilt to my kids so some flighty woman can vacation with her husband while everybody else struggles to make ends meet. At the moment, I considered telling Sam that if he dared to involve our kids, I'd leave him too. I haven't because I don't want Jack and Linda's kids to think that they're causing everyone's marriages to break down. Still, this situation is really bad, and I feel bad for the kids. So I told Sam we needed to convince the grandparents to either find distant relatives we can help search or get Amy out of her permanent vacation. Am I the idiot? Edit. For the child-free people, I don't mind that people choose to be child-free or want to stay child-free, but Amy cannot volunteer my husband and me without asking us, and then expect that we'll not ask her to spend some effort in helping the kids find a place to stay, even if not with her. Making some phone calls will not stop her from being child-free. Her choice to be child-free doesn't mean she gets to freely be mean to us by first trying to push responsibility on us and then run away from all responsibility. Everyone's the idiot here. First of all, in these situations, I always say that nobody's obligated to take on extra children if they aren't wholeheartedly willing to do so. That includes everyone involved in this story. That said, the finger pointing and the attitude that everyone else should be the one to take the kids in is really gross. If you don't want to, fine, but don't point the finger at someone else and say that they should give up their lives before you have to. The reason why I say screw the child-free sister-in-law is that she volunteered OP without even asking. Not the idiot OP. I'm a child-free person as well. I got a vasectomy and everything because I don't want kids. That being said, if my sister and her husband died tomorrow and their infant needed care, I would be there because it's what a proper human does. End of discussion. Agreed, not the idiot, but these kids should be eligible for Social Security until they turn 18 or 19, if they're still in high school. When my husband died, I received almost $2,500 a month for my son until he turned 18. Then he got that amount from 18 until he graduated high school. So that should help offset the cost of raising them. OMG, I'm just stressed out from reading this. Update. Am I an idiot for not taking in my niece and nephew? Thank you to the people who posted good advice and sent resources and direct messaging. I called my state's Children's Services Department about getting approved as foster parents. They said we could only have 2 kids per room and they must be of the same gender. So Sam and I do not meet the minimum requirement for housing unless we only take the boy. There's no way the kids or the grandparents will agree to split up the kids. They also said we couldn't use an RV to count for a bedroom. I also called about the kids' Social Security. They can get $900 a month in benefits because it seems to depend on how much their parents worked. Jack worked sometimes and Linda did not. Sam and I have explained that we're not legally eligible to take the kids to the grandparents. They now think Amy should take the kids, but I don't think she will. Either way, we're staying out of their talk with her, which is a nicer thing than what she did to us. I will try a few other things to help the kids find a place to stay. One idea was to make Amy ask her and her husband's friends to help find good and safe foster parents, and we can visit the children if they want us to. I think she'll do it this time because she's the only one left who can legally take the children, unless the law in Georgia state is different.